Welcome, everyone. I am here with a very special guest today. We are talking to a Shopify merchant who you'll find out has done a lot over the last 6 years since he started his brand. And this is a great interview because if you are a Shopify merchant, this is what you want to hear. You want to hear it from the horse's mouth, the person that's been through it, the person that can tell you exactly what influencer marketing is all about from the perspective of being the owner. I'm very passionate about hearing the side from the actual owner because we can hear all these different stories from people who don't know what they're talking about from experience, but Chase definitely has the experience to tell us more about what influencer marketing means in his business and what he's seen over the years. So if you don't know about Blenders Eyewear, then you've been living under a rock because this company's been around and has made huge movements through the industry. Everyone's spoken about them for years. So to get Chase on today was fantastic. I was so happy to have this happen because this is definitely a brand who has done a lot in the social media space. So that's why it's really exciting for me. They've been around, like I said, for about 6 years. They've worked a lot with music festivals, DJs, and athletes. So that's fantastic. We're going to hear a bit more about that. And they've actually been spoken about by MTV and Red Bull, which is also in that whole space around that social media aspect. So, you know, we're talking about influencers, we're talking about how other people talk about you. So I think all of that comes into play when it comes to how how Blenders has actually done what they have done and how they've had so much success. So without wasting any more time, let's talk to Chase and ask him exactly what he's been doing, how he started, and more about Blenders Eyewear. So hi Chase, how are you today?
I'm good, how are you?
Fantastic. Like I said, I'm so happy to have you here. It's fantastic. It took a little bit of a maneuvering. You're such a busy guy. So I know you've got so much going on. So thank you so much. It really means a lot. And I know everyone will really appreciate it. So tell us more about Blenders and what you've actually, how you created it, where it came from, and what's going on now.
For sure. So I started Blenders back in 2012. And I got a really big background in surfing and action sports. And I grew up, competing as a pretty good athlete at a young age. And so I was just around a lot of brands when I was a teenager. And so just kind of growing up around a lot of brands, I fell in love with a lot of brands really quickly. And so moving from Santa Barbara to San Diego, I was on the surf team in college and just loved the whole aspect of like brand athlete relationships. So I guess it was kind of destined for me to kind of own one or be affiliated with somehow, some way. So after I actually finished college at San Diego State, I was going to see one of my favorite DJs at a nightclub and I wanted something to kind of add to my outfit. So for some reason I went to Target and the first thing I saw was a pair of $5 neon green sunglasses. And I bought them, I wore them out to the club and everyone in the club was coming up to me asking about it. I'm like, whoa, those are cool. Like, where'd you get them? Let me try them on. And there was all this buzz around my $5 shades. And so it kind of like the whole idea kind of happened on the dance floor, believe it or not. So it was just one of those things. It was a night out with friends. And so I'm the kind of guy that when I get into something, I really get into it. And so, that kind of transpired. And then I would just sit on the boardwalk and here in San Diego and watch people walk by and just notice the glasses that they were wearing and just saw a huge gap, between your $200 Oakleys, your Ray-Bans, your Gucci's, and then the ones I was wearing. There was no brand that was in between, that was new, that was millennial focused, Gen Z focused, that had vibrant colorways that really kind of like personified our California lifestyle. And so I was like, well, if I can't sell sunglasses in San Diego, I can't do this anywhere. So this is my best shot. So it's just kind of started from there. And then I just dove right in.
Fantastic. So before we get into the marketing and what you're actually here for, just let everyone know, because you have got such an amazing brand that you've built over these years. Has it been easy or hard for you along the way?
Oh, no, nothing's easy. You think it's easy at the beginning. You think it's going to be a slam dunk. And it is very difficult. The first day in business, we launched at San Diego State's Entrepreneur Fair. I brought 300 pairs of sunglasses thinking I was going to sell all 300 on the first day. I sold 10 pairs.
Yeah.
And so just very humbling, very grounded, just like realization of like, okay, this is going to be very difficult. And even in a place like San Diego, it gives you a great opportunity to really thrive. But at the same time, like, this is, you're building something from nothing. So it's going to take a lot of work.
So to put it into perspective, you sold 10 that very first time. What are you selling a year now? What's sort of an average?
Yeah, so we're selling over 1 million pairs a year now. So it's, we've come a long way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, there's a lot that goes into that, and like a lot of trial and error, and a lot of kind of like, experimenting with different types of marketing. And then finally, when you kind of see what works, you kind of just start pouring gas on that. But obviously at a really, when you're bootstrapping a company, we bootstrapped this from literally $2,000 from my roommate that I borrowed. You gotta build it up. You can't just come out the gates firing. You gotta slowly build it up, and you gotta reinvest, and you gotta continue to just kind of, experiment and try new things. So yeah, it definitely took a while, but six years is, it seems like a long time, but it's really not that long,
Yeah, no, it definitely isn't. So tell us a little bit about just your general marketing strategy and your influencer marketing strategy just inside of that. So just so we sort of get an idea of just your general marketing as well. We don't want to go too much into depth with that, but I just want to get an idea of that in general of what you're doing now with your marketing.
So now, the majority of our marketing is all basic social media. I mean, it's all Facebook ads, it's all Instagram ads. It's different relationships with content creators, with different influencers that we work with. And so we use influencers and content creators for various purposes. The majority of our spend, the majority of our paid advertising goes through Facebook and Instagram ads themselves. And we use the influencers and the photographers and the tastemakers to kind of help build that content and build that brand, and then be able to kind of personalize with them and the brand. So that way we can connect with our audience more. So depending on what type of person we're working with, we use them for different purposes.
And so you've been working with influencers from the start of your business, or has it been something that you've just started doing? Yeah, from the very beginning.
So we started from the very, very beginning, and how we started using it was like when the algorithms of Facebook switched, we moved to Instagram, and Instagram just opened this whole new door of just like opportunity. I mean, really, it was just this new channel that was heavily visually focused, as Facebook is text focused. So like a brand like ours with sunglasses in San Diego, we just like, it was peanut butter meets jelly, we were able to just fully showcase the brand. We were able to network with more so photographers at that point, just to kind of help build content. And so I would just literally sit on Instagram for hours and, message photographers and comment on their photos. And then soon enough, they started coming to our office and picking up sunglasses. And, we didn't have any money to pay them. We just paid them with sunglasses. And so we started shipping out a bunch of free product, and, photographers would come by and pick them up and shoot photos, and then they would send us in the photos. And soon enough, we started getting really like creative, engaging content. And so that's how we started using them from the beginning. And then, we've also used them for giveaway purposes, just for like follower reaches and stuff like that. But at the beginning, you're more starstruck by all the numbers. You're just like, you're going for like, oh my God, this person has 500,000. Like, let's get them to post about us. You don't really think about the connection between the brand and that person. You just look at the numbers. Yes. And so when you start to kind of build your brand, you start to kind of understand the space a little bit more. Then you start to learn about the value of like partnering with the right influencers versus partnering with people that just have large followings. And so just going through a lot of trial and error with that, seeing what's worked, seeing what didn't work, and kind of getting your expectations in place of what do you expect from working with somebody or having somebody post for you, like what are you going for, is important to kind of identify at the beginning. So you can actually measure it. You know what I mean?
That's great advice. It's definitely talking about the numbers not being the most important thing of the followers is so important. And I'm glad that you brought that up. That's fantastic advice. So I mentioned in your intro that you work with DJs and other sort of like music festivals and things like that, sports people. How did that come about? That comes from just people that you knew through contacts, and then also Red Bull and MTV. How did all of that come about for you?
Yeah, so I mean, definitely like a handful of contacts of people that like I've met over the last 5-10 years. But also just living in San Diego. San Diego is the mecca of Southern California culture. And in the summertime, there's these huge lifestyle parties that all the DJs fly in for. And so I know a lot of the guys that, put on the events, and I know a lot of the photographers that actually cover the events. So at the beginning, when we first launched our brand, is when all these events would go on, and it was like extremely, extremely popular. And so DJs, world-class DJs would fly into San Diego and play these pool parties. And so I would be able to link up with the photographers and load them up with shades, and they would be on the stage with the DJs, and they'd be like, "Hey, check these out," and they'd put them on, and we'd get cool photos, and then